Exercise your entrepreneurial skills in the digital world. My 2024 Travel Writers Workshop. As an international travel writer, your ability to raise capital outside of your job is essential. You want to practice raising funds by building up accounts of cash and credit, which takes periods of discipline and focus on, of course, your determination, right? Your goal, And so this is part of what I believe is a great byproduct of travel is that you once you gain certain experiences and you see different living conditions, you start to need less and value things differently. And so that was what makes you want to save. And so also, if you have a carrot on a stick, right, that you're focused on, you're going to get there, you know what I mean? But in my analogy, you are the one who put the carrot on the stick, right? Because you want that trip to drive you forward through whatever circumstances into creating another fulfilling experience. And this is what will build up your esteem. Okay, we're living in a time where people are wrestling with esteem, and really what you need is equilibrium, a balance. You need to feel like you're getting something out of life, and you want to also feel like you're giving something to the world, giving something to life. So we got to understand ourselves as human beings and how we're operative, how we operate. And a lot of it comes from a lack of balance, right? And we're living in a society that was built based on conquest. Well, so part of what we have to do is just come to terms to reality. There's no reason to harbor a bunch of negative feelings about the history, because history, it is real. It needs to be acknowledged. It needs to be given a sense of voice so that we are able to gain that sense of value, for what we have in the now. We're in the now where we're able to communicate widespread to masses on just from our bedroom, but it's a matter of our imagination. It's a matter of our execution in a sense of purpose. You feel me? So this is what my group is about, is execution. Where is your faith leading you to? Right? If you are exercising faith on a consistent basis, then this means that you should have a track record, right? A track record. T-R-E-K record. Track record of where your faith has led you. Now, everyone has their purpose. To shine does not mean to cast shade. But sometimes when you shine, you have to realize that's the natural balance and order of things, is that when you rise, the shade mobilizes. You understand? If you look at the sun rise, it casts a shadow at a different angle upon the earth. So the mobile sun is synonymous with the mobilizing the shade. And when the sun sets, for this period of time we call night, it's this word we given to it, norte, right? And all it is the opposite. It reminds us that there is an existence or a reality without light. And even that the light is not even permanent, because stars are born and stars pass away. They burst into nebulas, and then they burst into black holes. So nothing is forever. But what we do have is right now. And what we have to also always keep in mind is our objective here is to wean ourselves off of having to depend on the labor force for income. To be able to live freely and abroad for an extended period of times, especially in emergency circumstances. You know, I believe that, that COVID-19, 2020, 2021, this was an exercise, and the people who were orchestrating the exercise were very clear, but also caused a lot of misinformation. Clear behind the misinformation. So, yeah, there was truth being spoken very clearly during the period of time, but there was 100 times more noise. So what that does is legally, technically, they were truthful. But propaganda is legal. It's a form of advertisement. So for us as U.S. citizens, you must recognize game. You understand? You have to say, okay, what's going on here? What am I seeing on TV? And also you have to compare what you see on TV to what you see happening in the real world. And if it's not matching, there's an error. And so this is a cause for an investigation. But even beyond that, and I can go deeper and deeper in that, but this is all leading to the same place. It's that the question in these series will always be, where is your faith leading you? All right? And, 2024, that's the question of the year. And the realization is how important the word determination is in that ingredient. Because again, you should have a track record. Faith is synonymous with walking on water. And when you're really breaking that concept down, the concept of walking on water, what people don't often do is put it in perspective or context, in realistic context. And this was really the ability to travel overseas. Right? Today we travel over seas of clouds. We still travel overseas, but we go through the aeroplane. We use aerodynamics, we use thrust and wing stabilization, and This was like Jacob's ladder. This at that time was a futuristic concept. This was like space age technology in their minds, where their offsprings, little baby angels, right, with the wings, would be able to travel to paradises beyond the clouds. And this was the rivers of milk and honey, because the honey is the sun that is beaming off the clouds. And you see these things when you're looking out the windows of the planes, if you have enough faith. It takes faith to walk on water, to travel overseas. At that time, you would go by boat, ship, raft. And they would travel the Nile, and they would go through the Mediterranean Sea. This is the reason why they had to do business with the Canaanites. The Canaanites were the merchants who can get them into the Nile River and take them down into the land of Cush and Kemet. By way of Kemet, obviously. They would come into Kemet first and then go down to Cush. Yeah. Where darkness was upon the face of the deep. It means everybody was black. And they were profound in their belief in the Most High. They called the sun deity Ra. And Ra, the central focus on its third eye, was the divine feminine, because she is the access into eternal life, just like the mouth of a serpent, the birth canal. In goes seed and out comes the sun. And so we know that snakes like to swallow eggs. And at times they also regurgitate life forms that don't quite fit. Like eels. Robert Kiyosaki keeps preaching that money is debt. It's an asset that creates income to enable you to borrow more. And that we, from a young age, don't learn how to deal with the bankers. That's our problem. Just don't know how to deal with the bankers. We don't really learn the proper way, or if we do learn, we just don't do it the proper way of building and using credit. We've been taught that working hard and saving equals, financial prosperity, but there's too many reasons to spend in the modern day and age. There's too many Valentine's days and weddings and children and birthdays and this and this and that. So if you're always trying to keep up with the Joneses, you're never going to be able to save anything. You're going to be in debt, but debt's going to be necessary for life. You're going to be paying bills. And what you want to do is you want to, again, wing yourself off of having to depend on the labor force for income, and to be able to live freely and abroad for extended period times at will or if necessary. So Patreon, learning how to use Patreon, Chime, Blurb, and PayPal are a few assets that my members learn how to use in my workshops to create income and build credit. Alright. So as society is becoming more cashless and more digital, we have to learn. Right? We must continue exercising our entrepreneurial skills right here on the internet. So 2024, this is going to be my focus.